your office called me and asked me some questions and told me, or asked me if I knew the trial was starting. That was a shock.
Okay.
I did not know that. So that's the way I knew it was going to be on, but I didn't know.
You're talking about weeks before the trial when we called
Right,
you. Okay.
right. Well, then someone called me and told me I didn't know about Court TV, and they told me. So I looked and finally found that may not even have been the first day.
How'd you look?
I have a Kindle, and I
Well,
Googled.
Well, Miss Martha, that's not true, is it? You don't have a Kindle. How many Kindles you got?
Well, I have two. I have two of everything.
Did you bring the two with you
I did.
to read?
Uh-huh.
All right, so did you Google it or something?
I Googled Court TV, Melody Walker Farris, Cherokee County, and I finally found, and I don't even know what the first was, and like I said, this would have been after 10 o'clock.
How much of the trial have you, now,
I did, and then let's see, this is the third week, is it?
yes ma'am.
I didn't watch any after I talked to you all.
Talking about last week,
Yeah.
did we tell you to stop watching?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Up to that point, had anybody told you not to watch it?
No,
Okay. And did you see Rusty testify?
I saw part of his testimony.
How did that make you feel?
Disappointed.
After seeing Rusty testify, did you make a phone call to Cherokee County?
I did.
Who'd you call?
Well, I Googled Cherokee County Detention Center, and it came up 3 names, sheriff and their number. I don't remember the second, and then the criminal investigator, and I called that number.
How were you feeling when you called that number?
Oh, I had a heavy, heavy heart.
Did you sleep the night before?
I have worried about this for a long time.
Do you remember I think that was last Friday, October 18th. Is that when you called? Today's Friday.
I believe so. I believe it was a week ago today.
Now, I have around 10 o'clock our time, so it'll be about 9 o'clock your time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that about right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who you talked to at the sheriff's office?
Detective Hand.
Hand? Mm-hmm. Hand, thank you. Now, how was he to you?
He was very nice. He told me his name. I didn't even tell him my name. I think I started out with, I have a heavy heart. And then I told him that I had a gun that was missing. And then he asked me my name.
Yes, ma'am. Let me talk to you about some guns. I want to talk about. Now, Roy Sr. was a jokester, wasn't he?
Yes.
I want to turn your attention, I believe, and you tell me if it's not right or if it's around that time. I want to turn your attention to, well, before I get there, did you buy Mr. Roy a certain type of pistol?
I did. I bought him a .357 Magnum.
Do you remember what year you bought that pistol for him?
No. No, I don't.
Do you remember?
It would have been.
What decade are we dealing with?
It would have been probably in the early 80s.
Okay. You remember where you got it from?
No, probably, but I don't remember exactly. We had a gun shop out of Winchester, which was a neighboring town. A Ray Judge that everybody went and bought guns from. And so you men have a way of hinting and telling what you want. This was the second gun that I had bought there for him. And the first, I got my uncle, Melody's grandfather, to go with me to buy a Remington. I should know, I knew 1100, I think. You dove hunt with it.
Okay.
And you can skeet shoot with it.
Now, did Mr. Roy like to hunt?
Oh, yes. Yes.
What kind of hunt did he like to do?
Well, turkey, dove, deer. When he was growing up, squirrels and rabbits.
Did he and Rusty ever go hunt together?
They did. He went, they dove hunted every year. They deer hunted, turkey hunted, and then they made 3 trips to Canada, black bear and caribou.
You told me yesterday, I think, well, the first time you and I ever met in person.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And was I nice to you? Was I nice to you?
You were very nice.
Okay. And you told me about Mr. Roy had a long shot one time. What was that?
Oh, it was over 600 yards for a caribou.
Where was that at? You remember what country?
In Newfoundland.
Now, at some point, now I want to turn your attention to, I believe, maybe 1979 at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Mr. Roy being a kind of a kid or a jokester, did you get a unique Christmas gift that year?
I did.
Was Rusty there?
Yes.
First of all, tell us how you would celebrate Christmas with a different family. What was y'all's procedure?
Christmas Eve, we celebrated with Roy's mother and daddy. And then on Sunday before Christmas, we would celebrate with his children. And then as they had grandchildren or had children. And then on Christmas Day with my family. And this particular year, Roy gave me, and he had gone and wrapped this. I know he took the paper at his mother's because my Christmas presents were wrapped that matched the tree. And this was this red and white paper, and he gave me the box, and it was heavy. And I opened it up, and there was a gun on top, but there was a brick in the box. And he had the gun. Well, of course, he had to tell me what kind it was.
Okay, what kind of gun was it?
It was a .38 special, and he said it was called a Saturday Night Special. Saturday Night.
Was it a long barrel or short barrel?
Short.
How short?
Oh, it was very short, and he told me that I could use it. It was for my protection.
And when you got the gun, did Mr. Roy do anything else with the bullets?
He had rolled up $100 bills, and they were rolled up about like a toothpick and stuck in each cartridge. And of course, he joked that that's the only way he could get away giving me a gun. And that's probably all I saw.
Now, this pistol, did it have a holster?
It didn't then, but he got a holster for it.
What kind of holster was it?
It was just a leathery looking, it wasn't a thick leather, very slick, and it didn't have the belt on it. It was just to put the gun in, so that he wanted me to keep it in my closet. In our bedroom, his closet was on his side, mine was on mine. And he kept his .357 Magnum in his and wanted me to keep mine in mine.
And
I never did touch or hold it. I kept mine under my nightstand
the
where no
38?
one could see it.
You talking about the 38 pistol?
Uh-huh.
But the holster was a leather holster?
It was.
Miss Martha, you said Mr. Roy kept his gun on his side in his closet?
In his closet.
When you called law enforcement, you told them this information you're telling us now, is that right?
Yes.
I had to look it up because I didn't know. Tell them how you described your closet.
Fibber McGee's, and you all may not know, it's an old cartoon, and if you open your closet door, you're liable to get hit in the head with something.
Now let me go back. Your husband, ma'am, I'm sorry, when did he pass away?
2014.
And Mr. Roy did he get sick around that time, or was it a little before?
The day that I went to Nashville to schedule my surgery, he had a second stroke. And from that time on, he was either in the hospital or nursing home.
And would you have to go to doctor's visits and things around that time too? Mm-hmm. At some point after Mr. Roy passed away, did Melody come up, or during that time was she helping you go to a doctor's appointment?
She did.
Was she staying with you during these times?
She did.
Now after Mr. Roy passed away, tell the jury what you did with the .357 Magnum pistol, Roy's pistol, and your .38 pistol special. Tell the jury what you did with it.
In one of our spare bedrooms, I had it wasn't a cedar chest, but it was a chest type that had quilts, sheets, that sort of thing. And I took those guns and put them in the chest. There was a TV on top of the chest. I don't remember, but I put a lot of stuff on top of the chest so that I didn't think anybody would look in the chest. It was too much trouble.
Did you personally put those in there?
I did.
Just those two guns?
Just those.
Let me show you some photographs. This is the first one, in Barton 1.1. Do you recognize, did we come up and pick you up to come to court today?
Yes.
And were you there when they were able to take some photographs of this?
I was.
Tell the jury what this is a photograph of.
This is a gun safe that we have. And I guess because those guns had been upstairs and Roy wanted them for my protection, I put them in the chest instead of in the gun safe.
This is photograph 2 for you. Did you also find some .38 special ammunition?
I did.
Is this the box that looked like?
Yes.
Do you remember what all ammunition you had for the .38 special through the years?
On my shells that were there, it was a box that had a TGY, which is an old, it hadn't been in business forever. And that's where my shells came from. But they weren't there.
And this is the shells that they opened up while you were there?
Yes.
That's 4. And then this is Ms. Barton. In Barton 5, those are the box of shells?
Yes.
Judge, I think I've tendered all those in, but I'm going to tender 5 in too.
All right. Objection?
No.
So moved.
Then 6, did the .38 special pistol, I'm going to ask you some questions later on, but just right at the moment, did the pistol go missing?
It did.
Did you start looking for things in your house?
I did.
how much did you tear your house up and things in the house looking for it?
Oh, well, I knew that it was only upstairs. And I looked everywhere. Closets, dressers, chests.
Do you have how many, you don't have any children, ma'am?
I don't.
But you have a niece and nephew are close to you?
I do.
And then, is it Jennifer?
Yes.
Did she encourage you to look before you came down here for us?
Yes.
Did you go back and look through the house again?
We did a complete search.
Does Jennifer love you?
She does.
She want to make sure you look through the house?
Yeah.
Now
She
this is,
even said, she called and said, how did you know it was a 38? Well, Roy told me.
now this is number 6 for you. It's a photograph of a sock. You see that?
I do.
Do you know whose sock that is?
I don't know whose sock it is. I'm sure it's Roy's. There were some shells down in it, and he would, of course, he had 4 to 11 hunting coats, and hunting, he had a backpack and everything else that you could imagine for hunting.
Did you find anything that has pockets in the hunting clothing?
Yeah, I found that, and peppermint candy. He was so afraid he'd get a coughing spell that he'd always carry peppermint candy with him.
Judge, I'm Tim Evans, M. Barton 8, which I thought previously to, just for the record.
All right, any objection?
No.
All right, submitted.
And Ms. Martha, this is the sock with the bullets that you found in there.
Right.
Did you find any other ammunition for a 38 special in your house?
No.
But you said some were missing? Were some bullets or ammunition missing?
That went with my gun. He bought me a box of shells to go with my gun,
Okay.
and they were missing.
So it's not those box of.
No, because it was.
Do you remember the brand of the one?
TG&Y, which was in the mall, and he just went there and bought the shells for me, but they weren't there.
Do you know what brand they are?
No, I didn't know.
These are the bullets that you found in the sock and then photograph 8. 9, just as safe again. All right. What is this one?
That's a 357 Magnum.
That's Roy's gun.
Yes.
Now, in this photograph 11 for you,
Oh, no. No.
all right, I'll go.
You were supposed
All
to do
right,
a close-up.
Ms. Barton, I'm on 12 now. Just tell the jury what that room is.
Have you ever heard of a junk room? I'm trying to go through and get rid of, I'm gonna have to downsize. And I move things in there. But this is the chest at the end of the bed. Now, I've still got things piled on it, but I had a TV and I don't know what else. I would get, or I do get, my nephew Bruce, who is, he's 59. And, sorry I told that, Bruce. And then Jennifer, my niece, is a little boy, 15. And so he carries things, they both carry things down and carry to Goodwill for me.
And as we go through this, tell the jury, this is photograph 13. Is it correct you moved your 38 and the 44, your gun and Roy's gun, you put them upstairs in this chest here, is that right, that we see in the photograph? Mm-hmm. Do you remember what year you put those up there?
Yes, it was 2019.
2019 that you put them up there?
No, it was 2019. No, no, I don't remember exactly. It was after Roy died that I put them up there. So it was after 2014
Okay.
that I put them in there. It was 2019 when I discovered they were missing.
Okay, that's what I want to.
The 38 was missing.
What I want to ask you is, and I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to go back to it. This is number 13. This is number 14, the photograph. And then, let me back to 14. I'm sorry, Miss Martha. And then, this is 15, just kind of the contents of the chest. As we took them when these were taken recently, right?
Yes.
After the defendant was arrested in 2019, did you go upstairs to do something with the, I guess, TV and other stuff with this chest?
We were taking some things to Goodwill. And so we looked in the chest. And at that time, I had quilts and sheets. And I had it down under. And when we looked, just the 357 Magnum was there.
You said, was there a moment that Melody, before she was arrested, before everything happened with Gary, was there a time that she was at your house and you told her where some things were in your house?
There were, yeah, yes.
Do you remember how you described that to law enforcement, that moment? You said you had a certain type of moment.
When I told her, yes, she was there with Ella, her grandchild. And I mentioned some money that I had in a dresser. And that it was more or less that if I needed something, those things were there.
Did you talk about where your pistols were?
I just told her that the pistols were in there,
And Melody was that?
in that chest.
And do you remember what year that was?
No. Oh, well, yes. It was the year that Emily got married because Ella came up
Now,
in 2016.
when you told the defendant, do you remember how you described that you had a certain type of moment when you told, I apologize, when you told Melody about that? Why did you have some hesitation now looking back on when you told her?
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, it's gone. I don't even know why. Melody and I were very close. She had come and done things for me during this period of time. And before that, she was the only child, baby in our family for 5 years. And my parents divorced when I was in about the 7th grade, and we moved in with my grandparents, who were her great-grandparents. So we had a closer connection because when her mother, grandparents came to see his mother and daddy, we were there. So we were very close.
Did you have
In fact, her grandfather gave me away at my wedding.
Now, outside of the defendant, I think you said Ella, did you tell anybody else where your pistol was?
No, no,
Specifically in that chest, did you tell anybody?
no.
Did you have a weak moment when you told her where some things were in your house?
I did.
Why was it weak?
Well, looking back on it, it was weak.
After you, were watching Rusty testify, did you hear him and me ask him about guns in your home?
Yes.
When you heard that, what did you think?
Boeing, I hope they,
Well, let me ask you this way. When you heard that, did you start thinking about the gun?
I thought you would call me. When the two different officers came to question me, they never, well, you heard the tapes, they never asked me if we had any guns. And that was kind of surprising because they seemed to know, about us. But
No one had asked you about
No
any
one,
missing pistols? After hearing Rusty testify, did anybody know you were calling law enforcement?
no, they didn't. It was, no. I just picked up I picked up the Kindle and it
Was it weighing on you?
had been heavy on my heart.
Did you feel like you just had to tell the jury about it?
I felt like it was the right thing to do.
Judge, you might just have one more.
Mr. Ray? Yes, please.
Ms. Barton, you just said that it was the right thing to do, right?
I did.
Okay. But you knew that gun was missing for the past 5 years.
Oh,
You just testified it was 2019.
yes, from, when I broke my arm and got out of the, she was arrested when I was broke my arm and foot.
I just asked you, 5 years later is the right time.
I was trying to figure out how long it'd been. Okay, 2019, yeah.
Okay. That's when it's the right time to let people know that the gun was missing. Right?
It had,
Right?
yes,
Okay. After you've watched a 3-week-long jury trial.
I did watch it every day and all of it,
Okay, let's go through. Who all did you watch? Did you watch Scott?
part of it,
Okay. How about Chris?
a little bit.
Jenna?
Who?
Jenna?
No, I didn't see that.
Emily?
I saw part of Emily.
How about any of the experts? Dr. Atkinson,
Who was he?
medical examiner?
I saw part of him.
How about the GBI agents that tested the bullets?
I may have seen that one.
Okay. How about Thrasher and all of the forensic people that were at the house?
I saw parts of those.
Okay.
It,
How about all the photographs? Did you see them putting the photographs in?
no,
Okay. Just like they do here. You didn't see that on your screen?
no,
Okay, I'm going to come back to some of this. So, in 2018, you were investigated, or not investigated, you were interviewed by law enforcement 2 separate times, correct?
right,
Right. That was by TBI agents as well as Detective Hayes and Detective Pope.
yes,
Okay. Now, you recall that during your interview with Detective Hayes, you recall Melody talking to you on July the 5th, right?
yes.
What you looking at?
I'm looking at this.
Let me get that. I just need you to testify from memory, okay?
Oh, okay.
If I need to refresh your memory, we will. But you talked to Melody while law enforcement was actually at their house, right?
No. They didn't come to my house until after 9 o'clock that night.
No, I know that. What I'm asking is, is when law enforcement was at Melody's house, Melody called you on her
Oh,
phone.
from her phone.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah. And that would have been on July the 5th.
yes.
Okay. And you told law enforcement that Melody was crying when she spoke to you,
Yes.
and that, in fact, her world had been turned upside down.
That's,
Correct?
it has, as far as I was concerned.
Now, going to what Melody never told you specifically not to talk to the police, right? She said their attorney told her to tell people.
She told me that the attorney told.
Melody's never told you anything to tell law enforcement?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Now, you've known Gary was shot since 2018, correct?
And she said, yes. When I may have known he was shot.
Okay. Let me, just because you kind of on the fence. Transcript. Man, I'm going to show you, this is not a certified transcript. This was prepared by the district attorney's office. What I want to do, I'll point to a line.
Okay.
And this is where your testimony was. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do when I show it to you is start reading it out loud. I just
Okay.
need you to read it to yourself, okay? And,
That's right, you said testimony. Is this a preliminary or is this an interview?
no, this is an interview.
Okay, so it's not testimony.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
I meant transcript, I think.
Yes.
So, not a certified transcript. So, ma'am, so you see M. Barton, that's you, up here. So if you read from there down to there.
Just to myself.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So in that interview, you make the statement that at least someone had told you that Gary had been shot in 2018.
Right.
Okay. Now, do you also recall in that interview, I think Mr. Focus asked you, did they provide you with both of the recordings of your interviews from the TBI and
Yes.
Okay, so you listened to both of those?
I did.
Do you recall talking with them and telling them where you came up with your own theory about what happened?
Did someone had come off the road and, yes. I did.
Someone had come off the road and encountered Gary?
Yeah, that
Okay.
to rob, something had happened.
And you also remember telling law enforcement that you didn't think Melody could do this because Gary was her livelihood.
I'm sorry.
It's my voice, it's starting to go out. You remember stating to law enforcement that you didn't think Melanie could do this because Gary was her livelihood.
I didn't.
And in fact, you said that Melody did not know if they even had money, right? Melody didn't know how much money they
She-
had, where it was at, anything
No,
like
she
that.
didn't have any control over that.
Okay. Melody had nothing in her name.
Nothing.
Gary controlled all of the money.
Right.
Okay. And he controlled it with an iron fist somewhat, didn't he? To the best of your knowledge?
She was able to buy pretty much what she wanted, but the cards or whatever she used, the notice went directly to him, and he would know.
Yeah, he would know what she was buying when
she'd
she bought it.
spent. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, moving on from that a little bit, you'd also talked about you got a woman that cleans your house, right?
I do.
That she still cleans your house?
No.
Was she in 2018?
Yes, she came while Melody was there.
When did she stop cleaning?
Just before COVID, she had to have a hip replaced. And then, of course, COVID came, and then she had to have her other hip replaced.
How
So
often was she at your house?
Every
Between
other week.
2018 and
Every other-
2020? The cleaning lady?
Every other week.
Every other week, so twice a month?
Every other week.
Well, that'd be twice a month, would it?
Well,
I guess it's the same thing said different ways.
well, she just came every other week.
Every other
It
week,
did
okay.
better.
Every other week.
Yeah.
Now, you had this lady, and you actually told law enforcement that whenever you go into the nursing home, you're taking her with you.
Yeah, I did.
But you also,
She takes care of me.
had some complaints about her, right? She'd move stuff around when she cleaned.
Oh, she redecorated it.
And you said you couldn't even walk around your own house after she got done cleaning?
Oh, no, it wasn't that bad. It was just that she would just move. For instance, she comes and decorates for Easter and fall and Christmas. And I guess when she came Easter, she walked in and she said, "Oh, I've decided we're going to move this picture that was in the landing and one that was in the den," and she just took it and moved it. But she cleaned houses for the wealthy people in Tullahoma.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot better taste than I did. And she knew, and I never complained about what she did.
Oh, no, I understand. But she did move things around in your house.
Just that. She wasn't in the closets.
You did state that she likes to get stuff out of the closet, right?
No, she didn't get out of the closet. When she first started cleaning, she did a cleaning of the closet, but, oh, she did get my clothes out for me when I broke my arm and foot and sent them to the nursing home. She thought I needed to wear, which I ended up wearing.
And that's fine. Do you stay at home with her while she's cleaning?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Either Roy was there most of the time.
Roy
Because I still work.
Yeah, you were still working at the bank.
Right.
Okay, so, even after Roy passed away in 2014, she continued to be there up until 2020, right? But you said she left at COVID.
Well, whenever it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also had talked to law enforcement a little bit about there had been a man break into your house.
Oh, that
Or not
was
a
like
man, I'll say there was
2010.
a boy had broken into your
Yeah,
house.
that
Okay.
was in 2010.
Okay. You also have a niece and nephew. I think your nephew is Jennifer, and I just know your nephew's last name is Brayton.
Bruce.
Bruce Brayton? Okay. Now, you had talked about Melly had a key to your house. Doesn't Jennifer and Bruce have keys to your house?
They do.
Okay. Who else has keys other than, I assume, the cleaning lady? Does she have a key?
I guess Polly did. Roy was always there. I don't. She may have a key.
So let's just, and I'm talking, relevant time periods, 2018, 2019. So Melody's got a key, cleaning lady may have a key, Jennifer's got a key, Bruce has a key, and there may be other people with keys.
No. Well, you're Rusty.
Rusty's got a key. So at least 5 people.
During all this time, my niece was not coming to my house.
During 2018 to 2019? Okay, but if you weren't there, you wouldn't know she was there, right?
Well, no, I wouldn't know, but she
And I was just asking, she does in fact
Yes.
have a key, though.
She does.
Okay. Now, I'm going to come back to that. Well, let me just go ahead and ask, have you talked to, because you got down here Wednesday night, right?
Right.
Did they put you up in a hotel?
Oh, they did.
Did anybody come with you?
No,
Jennifer didn't come?
no,
Okay. Bruce didn't come?
no,
Have you talked to Bruce, let's just say this week?
no.
So you wouldn't know that my office called and spoke to Bruce?
No.
Okay. Now, The bullets that you were talking about, sitting way over there, I couldn't hear you. The bullets you were saying were missing, not the Winchesters that we have in the box. So, can you say it again? What brand those were?
I don't know.
Or you kept saying they were something, and I think there was a store. I can't figure out what you were saying.
Well, it's no longer in bit. There was a TGNY.
TGNY?
TGNY. And it had, you know how stores used to put their sticker on. You probably don't even know that. But
My grandpa owned a Radio Shack, and he used to say Radio Shack and have the price on it.
used to, when you went to the store to buy something, well, it had the price. But I remember that this one had TGNY on it. And I don't know why I remember that. I never shot the gun. I never handled it that much. I have a healthy respect for guns because my husband, when he went hunting, it wasn't, I mean, he might go hunting when I was there, but he would like clean or whatever you do to guns the next day. He didn't have the guns out in my presence. I could not tell you. I know he's got a Benelli, but I don't know. In that gun that I gave him, that was a Remington. But in that 357. But now, honest to Pete, if I hadn't just seen it, I probably wouldn't even know what that thing looked like.
The gun? Right?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about? You wouldn't know
Yeah,
what it looked
because I didn't. If it were a pair of shoes or a purse, I guarantee you I could tell you.
like? Absolutely.
But they didn't interest me. I didn't handle them.
So
I
basically,
just knew I had one.
you just put it away, put it in your nightstand. Well, it got moved around, but eventually you put it in your nightstand drawer and you just went on about your business.
It wasn't in the drawer. It was underneath on the floor.
Okay, yeah, underneath.
But
the
it was,
nightstand.
my nightstand is where you had to get down under it to slide it in.
Now that holster you had talked about, you said it covered the whole gun.
Mm-hmm.
It did, and
Well,
Allison, can you stand up? Is it a holster like this? You know that the whole gun's in,
I can't see that far away.
like that.
I
Can you
can't.
see that?
No.
Can you walk up to her, Judge?
These glasses are close up. They're not my distance.
You don't get to hide over in the corner anymore.
No, it didn't. No, you could see the end of the gun out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, I mean, you know, this was old. It wasn't,
Well, let me do one thing real quick. And Judge, huh?
You get a picture?
If you just perfect
Yeah,
it.
we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll
after.
just that we had Deputy Allison approach the witness showing her holster for her service weapon, and the witnesses indicated that it did not look like that.
no, it didn't look like that.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, so it's sometime in 2019, and Melody is arrested, and you notice that the gun is missing, correct?
I did.
Okay. And you continued to talk to Melody while she was in custody. Y'all talked on the phone calls?
I did.
Okay. You never said anything about a missing gun to Melody. Okay. You
No.
never called law enforcement and reported this gun stolen.
No,
Okay. You still have not reported this gun stolen.
I haven't. And that's another thing that came up that I thought, ooh, I haven't done that. But I couldn't describe it.
Yep, you can't. But, well, I'll get to that in a second. So you can't actually tell the jury what this gun looked like, right? We got to say it out loud because he's got to be able to hear you.
Oh, no, I can't describe it.
Okay, can't describe it. But for some reason you remember it's a .38 special.
There were other people that I've told that I got a gun for Christmas. And then I've told that I have a .38 special. I mean, I've told that before I found out it was missing to someone.
Okay. What do you still have a receipt for this gun?
No.
Do you have any
Well, I don't
pho-
even know where he bought it.
Do you have any photographs of this gun?
No.
Now, going to your testimony, because remember beforehand I was asking you about what you had seen. Where are you watching this? You said you watched it on your Kindle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're watching on the Kindle. Are you watching like YouTube? Like the YouTube app?
Well, part of it, sometime it would come up YouTube, and then part of it was, you could see that civil, and it was just like.
It just shows it. Yeah, that's what they zoom into when
Yeah.
we're not in court.
But the YouTube wasn't like that. It had a little man down in the corner.
That's what I'm going to get into. I'm going to show you a picture.
Okay.
So, you have not seen this photograph, and I'm going to show you. But what I'm going to ask you is because you had told law enforcement that there's a man, little man, I think that's what you said, little man in the corner that's got headphones on.
Yes.
All right. And I'm just going to show you and see if this is the man that you saw.
No.
That is not
Oh,
him?
this.
Yes.
Yes, this is a man.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's Rusty. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so we'll just perfect the record, okay?
Okay.
So this is the man in the lower right corner of what I'm going to call Barton Defense 1.
Okay.
And is that correct?
Yes,
That is the man that you watched.
yes,
And the other man that's Rusty Barton.
right.
Okay? And you're watching it. Are you kind of familiar with YouTube?
No.
Does this kind of look like what you see when you watch it on Kindle?
Uh-huh.
It does? All righty. And Judge, at this point in time, we move in Barton Defense number 1.
All right.
I stipulate to it.
All right, submit.
Will you switch it over to them? Look, that's on post.
It's on.
Oh. So, ma'am, this is, yet again, this is what you're watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Rusty was testifying.
Yes.
Now, did you watch Scott, Chris, Jen, or any of those people on this same YouTube channel?
I don't know. Sometimes it came up where I could see the judge and that symbol back there. And sometimes I would get it on this. I'm not real computer.
Computer
I'm
savvy?
not a guru on this.
And that's perfectly fine. But one thing I want to talk about is that little man in the corner there, and so the jurors know and they can see it, that this is a YouTube channel called Recovery Addict. Were you aware of that?
No.
Okay. And it's that little man in the corner with the headset that is the one who told you, quote, that's where she got the gun.
I heard him say that.
Yeah. And that's where you got the idea.
No.
Well, that's when you called law enforcement, wasn't it?
No.
Actually, the next day.
It may have been the next day, but I thought they will realize that they'll hear it. I thought you all would pick up on that.
What do you see on there on that exhibit where it says, "Did I crack the case"?
Where it says what? Oh, yeah, I see that.
Okay. And do you know that man is now claiming that he's the one that solved this because he gave you the idea?
Well, he didn't.
Well, you would agree with me, though, that on this timeline, you're sitting at your house in Tullahoma, Tennessee, and you're watching Rusty testify with that man giving commentary, correct?
I did.
And that man made the statement on his YouTube channel, quote, that's where she got the gun, right?
I heard that.
And the next day at 9 o'clock in the morning, you call Captain Hands at the sheriff's office. Correct?
I did. But
And
Judge, I'm just asking Mr. Ray.
that was not, there was no explanation needed.
I'll let you redirect. Go ahead.
And that is the first time since July 5th, 2018, that you have ever told anyone about a missing 38 was to Captain Hands.
no.
Who else have you told?
I have She's not a family. She's a very good friend that I told. I don't want to get her involved.
Okay, so you claim, when did you tell this supposed person?
It's probably been over a year ago
Okay.
that this was on my heart, and I felt like I should let somebody know.
Okay, so you just let this anonymous person know, right?
She's not anonymous to me.
Not, what, how about, why don't you,
I'm not
if,
telling
okay, you've got a gun missing, and obviously you're trying to imply that Melody took this gun and those bullets and that's what she used to kill Gary. So that's important, right? You would agree with me.
Oh, it's
Super important, right?
very important.
But what your excuse to this jury is nobody's ever asked you, right? That's what you told Mr. Fogus. Law enforcement never asked you in
They
2018.
didn't ask me.
But you didn't know the gun was missing,
But I
so there was
didn't
no
know.
reason to ask you, right?
Well, they didn't ask me if I had a gun. If we had guns,
But the point is, in 2019, after Melody's arrested, you know it's missing, right? And you don't say a word.
I could tell you why I looked.
No, I'm just asking you.
I
You didn't say a
know
word.
You don't want to know.
You didn't say a word to anybody about this missing gun until Friday of last week, right?
Well, I have discussed it with one person.
Well, let's go ahead and get into that. Now, you claim that you did not know about the affair between Rusty and Melody,
No,
right?
No, I didn't know
Well,
about the affair.
what did you know? You told Mr. Fogus you didn't know.
Judge, I'm going to object and ask Mr. Ray under 611, 623. She is 84. I ask him to slow down and ask the questions appropriately.
He's got her on cross. If I think he's inappropriate, I'll slow him down.
Ms. Barton, you testified with Mr. Fogus you didn't know. And so I just asked you if you knew, and you said no, well. So did you know or did you not?
I did not know the affair was going on.
Okay. Well, what else were you going to say?
That I knew that they talked too much, and I talked to Melody about that.
That you thought they talked too much? Okay.
That she was still a married woman.
And obviously, you're not, if this is in fact the first time that you learned about the affair, you learned about it while your stepson was testifying on live TV, right?
Unfortunately,
And
along with
does the little man that you watch that makes these comments during the trial that you're watching, did he ever say anything about the affair that you recall?
no.
Just say yes or no, sorry. So in front of live television is when you learn that your stepson and technically your second cousin are having an extramarital affair, right?
Yes.
And you recall talking with Detective Hand, telling him about how embarrassed you are about it,
I am.
and that I think you actually said that you can't even hang your head up in Tullahoma anymore, right?
Hold it up.
You can't hold your head up in Tullahoma anymore, right? That Rusty and Melody have destroyed the Barton name. You recall that?
I do.
Now, with your niece and all of them, or let me ask it this way first off. Do you have you had any communication with Scott and Chris?
No.
And that would be since, what's it say, since 2018?
Since 2018, yeah.
You have?
I haven't.
You have not?
No.
Okay. Do you know if your niece Jennifer, she's had any contact with
I
Scott
do
and Chris?
not know.
Okay. And Rusty's your stepson, right?
Right.
But you're 13 years apart? Right, because I think he said he's 71 and you're 84.
Well, he is, yeah.
Okay.
But I never thought.
So was Roy much older than you?
He was 7 years.
7 years older than you? Okay. And you don't have any biological children, correct?
No.
Right, but you recall talking with Captain Hand. And it is Captain. Yeah, Captain Hand. Talking to him and telling him that basically you're not happy that Melody's throwing Scott under the bus, was paraphrase of what you said, right?
I wasn't.
You weren't? Because in your opinion, even though I know you don't have any biological children, but you were very close with Kay, I believe, right? Right? And y'all talked about a mother should always protect her children, correct?
Right.
And that a mother should do anything to protect her children.
I believe that.
You believe that. And it made you sick to see Melody blaming Scott and Chris, didn't
It did.
it? Okay? And then,
After the fact.
what, after the fact the
After
man
I
told you
learned
that
more.
the gun,
Yeah.
so that's exactly it. So you're watching this trial, and Melody is disgusting you. You found out about an affair. You've seen her blame Scott. Well, you hadn't seen her. You've seen me and John Luke blaming Scott and Chris.
In proper form, he's not asking a question, he's testifying.
He's trying to get.
I'm trying to get
It's
to
not a
it.
question, Your Honor.
It is just a long question. So now I got to start over.
Correct.
Lost my rhythm. So you have sat here and you saw me and John Luke blaming Scott and Chris, right? I'll break it up. Because you watched the trial, right?
Right.
So you saw us blaming him. You saw Scott come in claiming that he found a gun, right?
I did. But I already knew that.
Who told you that?
Melody had told me that he had found the gun before all of this happened.
Yeah. And the, I done lost my train of thought. You find out about the affair, right?
I did.
So, and then you see me and John Luke blaming Scott and Chris, right? Or it's technically going on all at the same time.
I've seen that.
And for you, that's just not good, correct? You can't have a mother blaming her sons, right? Because you just said mother should always protect her
Judge,
children.
I'm going to object. He's asked 3 questions and has not given her an opportunity to answer. He
No.
has got to let her answer on 611, 623.
That was one.
That's 3 questions. They didn't let her answer. I just asked you to give an answer.
He's trying to get her to answer.
He
Go
has
ahead.
to give an opportunity to answer the question.
She hasn't answered yet.
He didn't let her.
I don't think that's exactly what's going on. Keep going, Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Judge. All right, so we'll just back up just a little bit, okay? So, when you're seeing this, you're disgusted with Melody, right? Especially once you learn
You
about the
won't
affair.
let me tell what really happened. So,
No, I'm just asking you, when you learned about the affair and the fact that you already knew she was blaming Scott and Chris, you were disgusted with Melody. Yes or no?
I was already disgusted. Not because I knew the gun was missing.
But you still didn't tell anybody.
No, I didn't.
Do you have any proof whatsoever that your husband ever even bought you a .38?
I don't have a receipt or anything like that. In fact, in '79, you didn't have, I'm sure you didn't have to register a gun. I don't even know if he went to, and which I'm sure he did, but he could have bought it off of somebody. I do not know if it were new. I don't, if he hadn't told me what it was, but I know I had a gun then, and I know I don't have a gun now.
Okay. And you have bullets for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And since you've watched the trial, tell me who else doesn't supposedly have a .38 but they got bullets for it? Do you know?
No.
You weren't watching when we had tendered in somewhere up here the bullets found in Scott Farris's barn and bedroom?
No.
That they were .38 special
No.
bullets?
I told you,
You
I
weren't-
did not see all the trial.